What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ray Fuentes, broadcasting from Washington, D.C. in honor of the presidential inauguration of Donald J. Trump. And today I have with me Zoniqx CEO Prasanth Kalangi, a decorated executive leading the charge of a transformative technology-enabled company on a mission to tokenize assets worldwide. Prasanth, thank you for joining me today, sir. How you doing?
Very good. Thank you for having me, Ray. Good morning, everyone. It's a great day. And I'm always excited to talk to you, Ray. You're one of the guys that's really focusing on our industry, which is very much needed at this point in time. And I appreciate you taking your time and then having me on the show.
Well, I appreciate you kicking off your morning. I'm actually closing my night off here over on the East Coast, excuse me, because normally I'm talking to you from the West Coast, but due to the fact that we're here for the inauguration, regardless of the time, I'm just glad that we're able to connect because now we're able to inform a worldwide audience of exactly who you are and what Zoniqx is achieving. So if you don't mind kicking this off, Prasanth, who or what is exactly Zoniqx and its overarching mission?
Yeah, so Zoniqx is a Silicon Valley-based company. We are a fintech infrastructure and middleware company. We focus on one specific thing, and the only specific thing we focus is on real-world asset tokenization. We started the company as an idea in 2017, and then that became as a product, and we tested with a few clients in 2021. And since 2021, we've been rocking in this space. What Zoniqx really does is it provides end-to-end technology suite of solutions for any asset owner or anyone who wants to get into real-world asset tokenization, leaving the complexities of regulation, compliance, and all the blockchain, wallets, payments. It's a fully one platform that's end-to-end, that's baked in for anyone who wants to jump into real-world asset tokenization. So we have major asset classes and major clients ranging from anywhere from commercial real estate all the way to exotic assets that we call. They are based in the US and also we're expanding to other markets.
Wonderful, Prasanth. Kudos to you and Sanjeev and the team at Zoniqx. Do you mind taking a step back, though, for those in the audience who may not be familiar with what tokenizing is? If you might just with a broad brush, to the best you can, briefly, what exactly tokenizing is and the assets that you aim to tokenize.
Yeah, so the great question. So if you see in the world, there's the total combined wealth in the world is a combination of private assets and publicly traded assets, right? The publicly traded assets, everyone understands it, how they want to participate. There is a process for it in terms of listing and then getting them traded on exchanges. But whereas the private assets are concerned, right? So there's a lot of wealth in the private assets. Majority of the wealth, if I'm not wrong, it's 70 to 75% is concentrated in the privately owned assets, whether these are real estate assets or mining assets or any sorts of those assets, supply chain, etc., etc., etc. So these assets are usually highly illiquid in nature, meaning the entry barriers of these assets are very high. You cannot enter these assets. And also once you enter, the exit for you to come out of these assets is also very difficult. So these become a barrier for everyone who want to invest. But these have got fantastic returns and the whole wealth has been made in these assets if you see historically. So when you come to the concept of tokenization, and it is not new, it has been there for a long time. The semantics and the language has changed. I'll give an example. So in real estate, there is something called syndication. So that means a bunch of people come together and then they form a syndication. And there's a structure of a GP and a LP and a co-GP model in most of the cases. And there is a LLC that's formed, or there's a company that's formed where a GP manages the company and LPs participate in investing in it. And this syndication tries to go pool the money in a most regulated and compliant manner. And they deploy the money and then they buy an asset. It could be an asset that's a strip mall in Austin, Texas, where there's a high yield coming out. And then when one of the LPs want to exit or say, okay, I want to exit, I want to buy out. So there's no other buyer for the LP. So they have to, it's very difficulty for them to exit and find a buyer. Or as an example, if I'm an LP in this syndication and I want to borrow money against my share, in the syndication, there is no bank, there's no one that's giving me a loan or even borrowing, because it's part of a syndication, and you are holding a piece of that part in that syndication. When it comes to tokenization, you can buy a fractional portion of the same asset, in this example, the strip mall, and you have also a choice to exit whenever you want, and you also have an option to lend this token and borrow some money against it in the on-chain mechanism. There's a great details behind the scenes, but I'm just trying to oversimplify here so people can understand it. So tokenization, essentially, in my definition, is really digitizing a traditional asset in a compliant, regulated manner, and in cases fractionalizing it, and then offering that as an investment vehicle in the form of security token.
Wonderful. I know that and thank you for explaining and oversimplifying for those that may not be well versed with the tokenization landscape or the digitization of real world assets. Coming from a fintech leader similar to Zoniqx, my former employer Link2, where they are tokenizing private securities, how do special purpose vehicles impact your business model from a fractionalization landscape?
I mean, great point, Ray. Great point. So there is still regulation clarity is required in some parts of the value chain of the tokenization. So the structures that are followed today is SPVs. So each SPV is spinned off, and an SPV holds an asset, and you tokenize an SPV that is holding the underlying asset. So it is similar to what you have explained with your partners there, tokenizing private securities. It's exactly the same thing. The representation of that value will be on the chain, and the track and trace mechanism and everything will be on the blockchain.
That is powerful. Thank you very much, Prasanth. And it's exciting to hear what SPVs are doing for everyday retail investors such as myself, enabling them or us to participate in investment opportunities that may not have existed for our demographic or our cohort of investors, especially if we're talking about fractionalizing the investment opportunity around commercial real estate or specific real world assets like private securities or commodities. So kudos to you. This is very significant and a wonderful opportunity to be a wonderful time to be alive. And to that point, Prasanth, understanding that we are amidst a transition of power or a new presidential administration that is crypto friendly, and that Zoniqx is leading the charge in a highly regulated landscape, as you mentioned, what type of impact will these new regulations have on the tokenization industry, and how is this going to set the stage for Zoniqx to be a leader in this industry?
Yeah, very good question. So we were debating about that internally as well within Zoniqx and also with our partners. I mean, so far the Trump administration has been giving very positive signals in terms of like the selection of the representatives with the crypto background and also the forward-looking people that are going to come into administration. And the recent Trump meme coin that just like skyrocketed also proves a point that they are not taking this easily. They're taking it very seriously. And then like the discussion about the reserve also is a point that we should talk about it, right?
Please.
So I mean, I'm just painting. It's a broader brush strokes that are happening across industry. But when specifically comes to Zoniqx, what we do is a security and the regulated compliant tokens. These are financial securities. These are not utility tokens. So there needs to be much clarity that needs to be given by the administration. There should be some regulation clarity in terms of like how these offerings will be structured, and then like the secondary market for the listings and the exchanges, and there's like slew of things that needs to happen. I think they're already working on it. In my opinion, I'm very positive, and honestly, I'm excited. And being a Web3 guy and being in the blockchain for quite some time, I welcome this administration. I welcome any administration that is focusing on this industry with the seriousness, and also recognizes that this is an industry that is going to stay. This is not an industry that's just going to come as a fly on the wall. People have been brushing it off. this administration recognized it is going to stay, and it is going to stay. It's going to grow. So I am very positive and pumped up that it is this government is going to focus on all types of assets in Web3 world, right? Whether it's meme tokens, whether it's utilities, whether it's securities, and there is serious business here. It's not anymore like a garage a product or like a mom and pop shop. It's gone way beyond that.
How interesting of of the timing for Donald Trump to launch his meme coin on Gary Gensler's last day as the U.S. SEC chairman. It was almost like a I don't want to just a I would say a kick
Did you get
on
a
his
chance?
way out.
Did you
Can
get
you
a
repeat
chance
that?
to buy those? Did you get a chance to buy those, Ray? I
No,
couldn't.
but
I was in different
I
time zones. I was in different time zones.
yeah,
I'm
no,
traveling,
I've
as you
been
know.
I've been busy working the just from preparing for the inauguration, doing pre-recorded interviews such as what we're doing today in preparation for the live stream inauguration, the live stream of the
Yeah,
inauguration, which we're going to do tomorrow. There's been no time to participate in any of those exciting investment opportunities. But at the same time, I don't really participate too much into the meme movement. I'm like yourself. I'm focused on real world assets being tokenized and participating, investing in companies that are like you. I would say I don't want to say being the adults in the room, but I'm
yeah.
just
I
I
understand.
want to I want to park my pennies next to the dollars of the largest financial institutions in the world, and maybe they're participating in memes, maybe they're not, but regardless, I'd like to stay within the arena that Zoniqx plays in, and so
Like,
I did not get a chance to participate, but congratulations to those that did, because I've heard it's been a very fruitful opportunity for many investors, some
yes.
multimillionaires made overnight. So I just happen to stick to the blue chip type of digital assets like XRP, and I just kind of remain in that domain, sir. So, but I did have an opportunity to brush elbows with Donald Trump Jr. here at the victory rally ahead of the presidential inauguration. So I mentioned to him briefly, hey, check out XRP and Ripple. And he kind of gave me that nod that he didn't want to
Yeah.
opine too much because he was headed backstage to speak in front of the thousands of patriots that filled the Capital One arena. But regardless, he gave me that nod that I was hovering above the target, and the guy and the guys that were around him, like his Secret
Yeah.
Service and probably his personal friends, when I was discussing this, you could see them smiling from ear to ear.
So is it like this morning, is it?
That happened around this afternoon, actually. So
This
not just
afternoon. Okay.
a few hours, only a few hours ago, Prasanth.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was an exciting time, and then I got an opportunity to brush elbows with Eric Trump as well, his other son, and
Mm.
it's but regardless of the memes and all that jazz, it's there was many individuals that were in that room that were also part of the XRP family at large. So it was a reassuring experience being in the likes of individuals that not only share our passion for reinstituting good values here in the United States, but also reinstituting sound institutional grade blockchain infrastructure as part of I would say, our financial system. So again, it was just a great time to be in the room with many XRP investors and patriots alike. But regardless, enough about what occurred at the victory rally. This is all about Zoniqx right now, sir. So
Yeah.
let's talk about who are your preferred customers, or what is the perfect customer for Zoniqx in the industry that you're trying to service, or industries.
Yeah. No, Zoniqx, the tokenization is a very broad spectrum, Ray, as I just explained to you. So the asset classes arrangement, this is how I look at the tokenization spectrum, right? On the extreme left and the extreme right, the extreme left is something that's really liquid in nature, the asset classes like treasury bills, money market funds. And on the extreme right is a fully illiquid asset, such as like land, right? So land, you buy, you hold. That's all. There's no liquidity in there. So it's very difficult asset, right? So Zoniqx started with real estate, which is a little bit on the right, commercial real estate, and then we start like coming in the middle. So right now we are the most exciting asset classes for us is all the asset classes we have done, because there is always an angle for every asset class, which is in commercial real estate. I'll tell you, there's a yield play, there's a rent, there's a profit, and if it's a private equity play, uh, there's this lot of stuff you can do. And we are also into reinsurance industry, which we are tokenizing the contract of a reinsurance contract that gives you very large yield, approximately 40% and above. These are in the state of Florida. It's a publicly listed company that is doing it with Zoniqx. And the other very interesting and exciting asset class, which everyone is talking, the hottest asset class is data centers. So Zoniqx is doing data center tokenization in the form of private equity in some aspects, some actually as the debt as well. So these are structured in different ways. And these data centers are green data centers and AI-based power data centers, meaning like all the AI stuff that we are hearing, right, which is going to continue and grow. It requires massive amount of data to be computed with these large learning models. That means there is a need for the data centers to hit the reset button in terms of modernization of the data centers, including the right hardware chipsets, plus the cooling systems. And right, data is the new oil, and this modernization requires by hyperscalers and also everyone. And so there is a Zoniqx client and a partner, Aurum Data Centers, right? Aurum Private Equity is based in California. They're doing data centers in LA, Niagara Falls, close to Canada, Saudi Arabia, India, across the world. And then
Wow.
we are very excited to announce this project, which is a public information, with XRPL as the blockchain behind. So Ripple, Zoniqx, and Aurum private equity data centers are partnering this with providing an investment opportunity for individuals to get into these data centers. Massive opportunity, and that's just the beginning, I believe. So we are specializing into very deeply into data center asset class, commercial real estate asset class, reinsurance, and mining asset classes, which are where we're working on an asset class in Indonesia for a precious metal mining, and also supply chain invoices. So these are the asset classes Zoniqx is focused on, and we believe these are the asset classes that people are demanding us to tokenize. So they want to get the investment opportunities brought to them. So our target clients are typically asset owners, asset managers, fund managers, private equity owners, family offices, institutions. These are our typical target clients.
So some of the largest players on planet Earth is what you're trying to say.
True. Some of the largest players on planet Earth, and so if you see the pyramid model, so the largest is on the top of that. So we started with the mid segment there, and then we're inching towards the top of the pyramid right now.
Well, I hope to see you at the top, Prasanth. That would only that would just reconfirm all of the homework and research that not just myself but many market participants or XRP family members, community members that have been doing the research for quite some time. Now,
thank you.
On the topic of XRP and understanding that you are utilizing the ledger for essentially processing or tokenizing the collateral that you mentioned, these real world assets, what kind of impact is this going to have on the value of XRP, if you don't mind leading into not a speculative type of conversation, but a literal, when we're talking about collateralizing billions of dollars of assets, what type of impact is that going to have on the ledger?
Yeah, so so I cannot specifically talk about XRP because I cannot represent them, but I can try to give my perspective, individual perspective, nothing related to Ripple or XRP. So if you see any blockchain that is coming, XRP is a leader in the space in a lot of ways, because they're the OGs in terms of like doing the payment rails for intra-banking space with their way early on. And Zoniqx and XRP partner to do the real world asset tokenization, bringing the real world assets on XRP ledger and building the native tokenization capabilities for XRP to process this volume and the different asset classes in the most regulated and compliant manner. So any blockchain, including XRPL, number one is the quality of assets have to be very high, what you're trying to tokenize. Number two is that the compliance and regulation aspects has to be extremely tight. And number three, the experience of the application for the community, whether investors or the tokenization of the issuers, whoever is issuing these tokens, has to be very good. Number four is the transaction and the low latency aspects, which is the technology aspects, right? Has to be addressed in terms of the traffic and everything. And number five really is about the ecosystem that the chain has, right? So these are the five things that you need to have. And XRPL has got the fantastic ecosystem, right from like large institutions, payment gateways, and then they've got extremely good community. And their technology is also great in terms of like they use trust lines on XRPL, and so their technology is amazing in terms of doing it. And the Zoniqx.
You mentioned the XRPL has great community members, but I've flashed up onto the screen here your ecosystem partners. I mean, you're servicing the likes of Amazon, Deloitte, Coinbase, Polygon, Hedera. So maybe after we discuss the impact that the XRPL and the wonderful community they've developed, let's talk about and deep dive Zoniqx as well, if you don't mind, Prasanth.
Sure, I'll do that. Thank you. So so Zoniqx is bringing these quality assets, and XRPL is our partner, Ripple is our partner in this, and then so we work together in terms of like getting which projects will go on XRPL chain, and then like they work very closely with us, and then we work very. Both of us goal is really to bring the high quality assets onto XRPL chain, and in coming to your question about like how does it impact on the XRP. I think XRP has been rallying regardless for a long time because there is a lot of like other things that come on XRPL, and I'm glad to hear that like Zoniqx and the tokenization engine that we have partnered and built with XRPL is helping it. And then I'm upbeat on all the partners that we partner with, not just XRPL.
And when you're talking about the standard or the solution that you've built, that's specifically DICES, the DICES protocol that is creates that interoperable solution specifically for the XRP ledger.
That is correct. So so if you see XRP, so there's like two sets of thoughts, right? Three sets of thoughts in the blockchain world. One is an EVM set of thought, like Ethereum virtual machine compatible, ERC20 compatible, school of like chains and also protocols built. Then there is specific to non-EVM bucket, right? Within non-EVM bucket, you still have like more classifications you want to do. One is like XRPL, what they use and how they use, and one is another one is like Cosmos based, and wasn't Cosmos is what we call. So language is very important, essential component, right, for humans to interact. And the technology also, people need to understand. Okay, so if a shipment is coming from like Saudi Arabia, which is not written in English, or like in India, it's not written in English, then in US it's in English. So the supply chain processes that are invented like 30 years back, 40 years back, they use a standard called EDI, Electronic Data Interchange Standards, right? So how I bill invoice is the same thing. How I do shipping is the same thing. In the blockchain world also, or any technology world, if I have like a certain set of like token representing on XRPL, then I need to transfer that to a different blockchain for whatever reason, different company or different institution. Then you need to have this interoperability that understands within both of these things seamlessly, right? There are many standards and protocols that came in, but they are very generic. So what Zoniqx focus is only specific to real world asset security token standard. That's why the name itself actually has like compliance in there, security in there, and also dynamic. So basically these have to be dynamic in nature, that a financial security is represented in such a way which has to be fully compliant and has to be interoperable. And it has to be dynamic in nature, where you can manage the capital table of this in a dynamic way. So we have built this standard, and then yes, it's all fully leveraged and utilized on XRPL. and we are also extending the standard to other blockchains where we're building this ecosystem between all these chains. It has got like the permissioned aspects which are required for this. It has got all the metadata that's required. It has got the security and compliance aspect as well. And this is the standard we believe is going to be the golden standard for all the security token offerings and real-world asset token offerings.
Kudos to you, Prasanth. How does it make you feel as the CEO of Zoniqx, knowing that you're pioneering something that is not only profitable, but highly necessary for the longevity of the global network that we know and love as the XRP Ledger?
I mean, it gives me immense pride, not just for me, for the entire team, my co-founder Sanjeev, and also the entire tech brains that we have got. We have been doing it for a long time. I mean, just to answer your question, right? So we when we started this company, and then when we formed this company, we got the idea in 2017, but we formed it in 2021. So we have given ourselves like 10 years in our mind. We know this is a very long and I would say road ahead because there's no utility at that time for real world asset tokenization. People used to look at us and say like, what are these guys talking about? What is tokenization, right? So when like we start talking about 2020, 2019, when people don't even know what tokenization is. And now we see the fruits are coming out. 2024 has been exciting for the entire industry, and Zoniqx being the pioneer and leader in this space. And it took us like, we started talking to XRPL back in 2022, 2021, we started talking. And then like that's how we started like formulating this. And I believe like two leaders are joining in a lot of ways, Ripple and Zoniqx, and then trying to really bring what the industry needs and what the world needs, to be honest with you. And it's a new way of looking things. It's a new way of doing business in the, for the last 300 years, we have done business in a certain way and investments in a certain way. And it's totally going to be a new way. And it took time. I think I'm glad that the momentum I got in place like since last year. Very exciting.
Congratulations, Prasanth. Now, to close things off on a high note, let's talk about the next phase of utility. What does that look like for the space, for digital assets, for Zoniqx, and what is the opportunity that we're talking about here for all of your ecosystem partners that I'll bring up on the stage while you're bring up on the screen here while you're discussing, from Ripple to Amazon, Deloitte. What is the opportunity here?
The entire world now understood, okay, there is a real value in tokenizing of real assets, and the how to tokenize aspect. So I'll tell you. So why to tokenize is already solved. The value why to tokenize and how to tokenize is solved by Zoniqx. Okay, what do you do once you tokenize is the distribution piece of these tokens, meaning like you got to create liquidity, generate liquidity. You got to sell these tokens, right?
Mm-hmm.
They create the buy side, the demand side, right? Which Zoniqx is going to launch a product called RWA Connect, which is not public fully yet. So because since you said it's on a high note, I want to leave the message here because that's a good product that we are launching, and it is going to create the gap, the distribution side, which is the buy side gap. It's going to bridge that gap. We're launching like Q1, end of Q1. We've been piloting that product. It's called RWA Connect. And then comes the secondary trading and the collateralization of lending and borrowing protocols. So there's a roadmap, and then there's adoption that's happening piece by piece. And the entire ecosystem, what you just flashed on the screen, which is Zoniqx ecosystem, all the blockchains we partner with, all the institutions we partner with, all the big four, big five consulting companies we partner with, who are like thought leaders in the space, right? And all the payment rails, all the wallets, all the custodians we partner with require to have this seamless system and ecosystem, which Zoniqx is the center. And then we are actually driving this and we are seeing the growth and the adoption and the momentum that's kicking in. And the 2025 is going to be a rocking year for the entire Web3 industry, and especially for RWA tokenization industry.
Wow. Congratulations. What an opportunity it is for me to be on this virtual call with you today, Prasanth. This is just a blessing, and I really appreciate the opportunity for you to hop on, or your willingness to hop on and join us, the Fruition team. Good Morning Crypto, because we're all over here on the East Coast in honor of the presidential inauguration, and this is self-funded. And we're actually, it's not only self-funded, we're using our XRP to fund our way here, Sir. Oh man.
I really appreciate it, Ray. And like you are a man with like a lot of energy. I've been noticing it for off late, and then you're a very big supporter. And really,
Oh,
thank you for doing this and having me on the show. And then you're witnessing the live inauguration there, and then I'm sure you're going to talk to a lot of people there. And you stay fit, get some sleep. I know you've been traveling quite a lot. And then you're the you guys, like, you are the cheerleaders for our industry, okay? And then much needed, much needed, much needed, much needed.
I, I forgot my pom poms at home, but you're right. I'll be there across the finish line, rah-rahing all you guys as we win. It's just a wonderful time to be just a part of something greater, and something that revolutionary, like you mentioned, something that's never been done before, a new paradigm shift, a new way of thinking, a new way of doing business. So Prasanth, before I let you go, how can those in the audience follow what you're doing at Zoniqx, and either you follow not just Zoniqx, but you as a leader as well?
Yeah, thank you. So you guys can follow us on Twitter, on X. It's Zoniqx Inc. And then you can follow me personally at Twitter at the rate D Kalangi, my last name, TheKalangi, which is flashed on it. And also, please check our website, zonix.com, and our LinkedIn pages.
Awesome. I appreciate this, Prasanth. Let me bring up that homepage of yours, that good-looking homepage of yours, so those in the audience can just sink their teeth in the opportunity that you guys are creating for the XRPL and the ecosystem at large. Though, like you mentioned, you're servicing some of the biggest customers or players in the world. We're talking about Amazon. I don't think it gets any bigger than that, Prasanth. So kudos to you. Kudos to Sanjeev and the team. Please tell Shefali and your team that I say hello. And I thank you for the opportunity. Well, actually, before I let you go, if you don't mind, Prasanth, would you mind sharing with the community, just so they're familiar of how large of a fish you are, in addition to the players that you're servicing, but how much in assets have you tokenized to date?
Yeah, so the assets on platform is the metric that we do. So we have done close to $5 billion of assets on platform. These range from like a different multitude of assets, which I described earlier, and
Yep.
the number is going to just grow. The transaction volume is what we're focusing on 2025. So which we want to bring the transaction volume up and up and up, which is what's going to happen with the new product that we're going to launch in RWA Connect. So if any of you want to tokenize, if you want, any of you want to understand what tokenization is, please go to our website. There's a chat bot. You can just ask it. It comes to our sales and BD team. And then if required, it comes to me and my partner, Sanjeev. And then you can just shoot us an email. So we are tokenizing assets across the globe, whether it's US asset or like anywhere in the Europe. Do not hesitate. Or if you just want to understand it, we're always there.
Thank you, Prasanth. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for joining
Thanks,
us.
Ray.
I hope you have a great rest of your day, and enjoy that cup of coffee. Apologize for interrupting that delicious treat of yours.
No, thank you. Have a great night, and then enjoy the inaugural show, and then do share us. I follow you on X, so I'll see what you're going to post there with the live streaming there as well. I'm excited.
You might see a few dance moves sprinkled throughout the
you
production.
You should do the Trump's classic TikTok move.
Oh man, I don't know if I can.
You should do that.
I don't know if I can move that elegantly, but I'll do my best. Anyways, Prasanth, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you, sir.
You too. Bye, Ray.
Bye-bye.